Hi, and thank you guys for joining us at this Ask Me Anything webinar. My name is Pearce. I run Pearce B Designs in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm design only and have been using DynaScape since 2018.
Hi there, I'm Joanne Shaw with Down2EarthLandscape Design, also design only. I'm east of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I'm excited to be here to chat with you, Pearce.
So we got some great questions that you guys sent in. So Joanne and I are just kind of gonna bounce back and forth, and she's got some great expertise in some of the questions, and then I'm gonna help with some of the other questions, and a lot of them we're gonna both give our answers as well. So here is the first one that was sent in. This has to do with sourcing plant material. I work for a construction company where I am the designer estimator, and I source all the plant material for installations. The main struggle I have is sourcing plants. During the design process, I choose plants from our wholesale growers list, but when it comes time for install, some of the plants are no longer available. Then I spend a lot of time either trying to source them from other places or figuring out a substitution. Wondering how you handle that, Joanne.
Yeah, so I work closely with my nurseries, and I do tell the clients that, the plants are subject to size and availability, so things may change. And then when I send the plant list through, because there's usually a lot of time from when design was done to when installation's taking place. So yes, a lot can happen with plants. So I work closely so that my advice is to have the best relationship you can with your nurseries, your wholesale nurseries, and they can help you. They can recommend alternatives. I often will visit and do substitutions myself. Sometimes what you spec'd, 6 months ago might not look that great, so you want to change yourself. So I think it's all about the relationship you have with a good wholesale nursery. And it does take time, though. I won't deny that. It is a lot of effort because you do go through a lot of time planning it in the first place, and you want to substitute with something similar and go from there. So yes, I hope that
Yeah.
answers the question.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I trend sometimes just to be a little less specific in plant choices, and I tell my install crews that as long as it is the same general shape and texture, and if the client is specific about a color, I'll put that too. Then I'm not quite as picky. It doesn't have to be the exact variety because it does change
Yeah,
from season to season. So as long as the general intent is still there, then I'm fine with substitutions. And I just again, like you said, you just have to trust. You have to trust your nurseries, trust your landscape contractors.
that's
So
right. And the clients need to trust us that we're going to make, if we need to substitute, we're going to make the best choice.
yeah, and also just like putting that disclaimer. I love what you said, like subject to
Size and
availability.
availability, right?
Mhm.
Because if it's only available in a bigger size, then the price changes.
Yeah,
And if it's not available, then we have to substitute. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's really good. Okay, so a lot of questions had to do with pricing of designs. So we're going to kind of combine a bunch of different questions into one. And so the general question is, how do you decide how much you're going to charge for a plan, and what is that range? How do we charge for our designs?
So I charge a flat fee, and I have a starting at price on my website. I'm very transparent with my pricing, but you don't know until you visited the site and understand the scope of work. So I think it's very challenging to track my time. So I use a flat fee model, and yeah, that's what I find works for me. So after I do a consultation and I have a better idea of the scope of work, then I will give a firmer estimate as to the price for the cost of the design.
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing. I do charge for my consultations. I have a $125 consultation fee where I come out and meet with you. I take all those notes, talk to you about about the project, and definitely like meeting the client, seeing the site in person, and finding what their design program is. Like, what are all the elements they want in that design? And then I will send them a design fee proposal. Again, I'm staying with you on my website. It says designs start at $2,000, and they usually range between like 2 and 4. And so I will then send them that design fee proposal. And it's easiest for me just once I take it all in, because obviously, like, And it doesn't have to do with how big the lot is. It has to do with how complicated the lot is. If it is
Yeah.
a 4-acre site, but it's all new construction, and I have a site plan from the builder, there's a lot of legwork that's done for me. But if it's a tiny lot, but there's so much to measure and so much to inventory, that's going to take me longer to create that accurate base plan. So I'm going to build that time into my price. So the price has less to do with how big the lot is and more to do on how much time it's going to take me to create that accurate base plan, and also all those design elements too. Like, do we just need a planting plan and some lawn for the dogs and the kids to run around in, or do we want putting green and a pool house and a fire pit? Like, obviously all those things I take into consideration, but it's easiest for me to just tell them up front. They know exactly what they're paying at the beginning of the project. I charge 50% when I start and 50% when I'm done, and it just makes it pretty simple for me on the accounting side of it, to run my business that way.
Yes, and I'm very much the same. I do charge a consultation fee of 150, and then I do ask for 50%. I send my whole proposal so they have everything in writing. So in addition to me telling them there, I also have, set their expectations all in writing, and they kind of sign off on that. And then I will, as soon as they pay their 50%, then they get slot in the schedule, and then 50% after what they receive their design package.
Okay. So that's good. That's good. Well, that's another question too. So that was one of the questions as well, now that you mentioned that. So what is in your final design package?
So it is the final drawing, black and white, DynaScape version, all labeled, and then I color it also for them, add some shadows. It really helps it pop, and they can see the color of the plants. Although I always have to explain, like, they're not all blooming at the same time, but it just gives them a better idea. And then I also send a plant catalog. I love that feature in DynaScape. I've created this lovely database of my own pictures. So I use my own pictures. And so all the plants that are in their design, I provide a plant catalog, and it really helps the clients, because then they go out and Google photos, and it's never the same, right? So they're finding pictures from somewhere else in the world, but these are the pictures, that grow in our area and how they look now, the plants. So yeah, I really love the plant catalog feature as part of my design package, and my clients love it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I still remember, like, before, when I was hand drafting, I would try to make sure I label everything correctly with all the right quantities, and make sure all those liters would fit in on my, once you're inking it in. And then I would spend like 2 or 3 hours creating a plant list in like Word or Excel, and then a plant picture catalog. And I remember the first time I clicked that button in DynaScape where it just exports your plant picture catalog, and boom, it's like in PDF form. And I think I may have cried a little bit, because it was like, that saved me so much time. So I do agree with you. I love that so much. I also love the plants and materials export feature, because then I love telling the clients, like, once you are 100% happy with the design and you sign off on it, we can get bids from different contractors, and they're bidding on the exact same numbers. I'm able to pull those exact numbers off of the plan through DynaScape. I know exactly how much square footage that patio is going to be, or your driveway, or how much square foot lawn we're going to need, and obviously how many the plant quantities. So each contractor is bidding on the exact same numbers, so they can look at them transparently. So I appreciate that. And I feel like, and I also want to create a package that not only helps my homeowners understand it, but makes my contractors' jobs easier. They have so much more overhead, and their job is way harder than mine. And so I want to create a package that makes their life so much easier. And then in return, they're going to keep calling me, because they appreciate the design package that I have created for them to make installation easier. So that's what I appreciate about DynaScape too. So, and so also kind of talking about that, about pricing and design package, there was a question about, with design being my passion, I would prefer to make it work full time, but it's not enough to support me financially at this point. How do you feel would be the best steps to take to propel it to a full-time and independent career? So being transparent, like, I try to start, I'm design only, and I try to start one job a week. So that doesn't mean I finish it in a week. It means like I'm doing a site analysis that week. I'm billing my client for 50% that week. And then I try to have their first concept for them ready by the like Friday of the week after. So like, and then they're in the process. So then they'll give me feedback. And then, so maybe the entire design will take maybe 3 to 4 weeks. So I'll just have different designs in queue, like in the process. But if I'm charging between $2,000 and $4,000 a design and I try to do 50 a year, I mean, I feel like that's making it a full-time job, at least for me, as a somewhat stay-at-home, work from home mom. So that's how I plan it out and just make sure I'm just like filling up my calendar and have a job to start each week. And so that makes me feel like it feels confident that I, have the work to help keep up with it throughout the year.
Yes. Well, with winter here in Canada, we have a bit of a shorter season. Although since COVID, it's been pretty much, year round, but I see a little bit of a slowdown right now. So I do similar. I don't space it out as well as you do, though. So I'm going to take that tip from you. But I do also think plant sales. That's something, we've spoken about that already. That is a way to, as you're building your business, if you don't have the volume of design work, then that's something you can look at is selling selling the plants to clients, and that can be a moneymaker that can help.
Okay, so this was a good one. This was kind of a technical design question, but I thought we could both speak to this one. Expansive plant beds on designs that require labeling numerous plants tend to complicate my designs with plant labels. What is your trick to labeling a lot of plants without cluttering the overall appearance of your design? What do you think?
Yes, that can be challenging. So I usually will take like a section of the garden. If that's the case and there's too many, then I may just copy the section of the garden of the plants, and then, or even maybe the plant bed if it's a smaller, smaller area within a big design, and put it off to the side of the design, so kind of taking it out, and then I will label it there. So, you still see it in the original design as far as the plant figures, but it makes it more readable if that little corner, like the front entrance garden, maybe that one's pulled out and you label that separately. So I've done that on when I've had that challenge. I've had to like kind of take out little areas and label them separately, and that seems to make it a little less cluttered. How about you?
No, I think that's a good idea. Sometimes my first thing that popped into mind is if it's a huge piece of property and we have to like bring the scale down, if we're working in like 10 scale or 16 or even 20, and so your plants are very tiny. Sometimes, like I know one time, like it was a large piece of property and we had all our foundation plants around the house and then all the rest of the property. So I did a second page where I just zoomed in on the house and increased the scale to like 1 inch equals 8 feet. So I was just labeling the plants around the house and the scale was bigger, so the plants weren't so small. And I've done that, I think, with other beds too. If it's really tiny, or if there's so much in one little area, I'll put it in a different section and change the scale of it. Like maybe, and if there's tons of little tiny plants, if it's like a rain garden or something with lots of different things, make the scale 1 inch equals 4 feet, and then the plants are bigger and you have more room around it too. So I think that's one option, is playing with scale. And then also you can do the key code too, if you need to just put like, I've done that on one as well, if you just like A, B, C, D, so have like a key code on the side so that you don't have to have all those leaders all over the place. So that's one solution. Okay, so here's another question. How do you sell a design without having the install company behind you? So I think us both being design only, How do you deal with that with your clients if they ask you that question?
Well, most of my clients are coming to me for a design. So they're wanting to purchase the design separately and then go proceed with the work. So I many may have their own contractor who said, you need to get a design. And so they come to me. But most often I then will work with them on their design and then say to them, I have a contractor that I think is a good fit for you, timing wise, skill set wise, depending, because they all have their strengths. And then I will refer them to that contractor, and it helps me stay involved and foster that relationship and still stay involved with the design all the way to the end. And it works really well for me, so it feels like a bit of matchmaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's good. And I think I kind of look at it the analogy of like when you're hiring an architect to build your house, you're going to interview different architects to see who do you think is a good fit for you. Like I'm probably not a good fit for everyone in Greenville, which is fine. Like great. Then find someone who is a great fit for you personality wise and design wise. And so I think of it like that analogy. Like I am here to listen to you, to find the best use of your space. And we're going to create a design together collaboratively that you are happy with. And once we are done with that design, then we're going to pair you up with the right contractor or two. And I love like making those connections. Like, hey, we're done with the design. Let's meet with this contractor on site, and we're going to kind of explain all of our ideas to them, answer their questions if they have any questions, and then I'm going to hand you off, and I step out and move on to the next project. And I'm available for questions if they need, or different takeoffs if the contractors need extra takeoffs. But it has worked fine so far, just to be able to hand off the designs, just like you said, like make that relationship, make that good connection with like I know there's one contractor who does like incredible masonry work, and so like if we have a design that has lots of brick work, great, let's call him. Or one that does really amazing boulder work and stone work, so like let's bring him in and see if that's going to be a good relationship for the installation too. So
and water features, like certain things,
yeah,
right?
good point.
Water features, pools. There's, you definitely will refer to the right skill set and the personality sometimes. But I love being around, and I also go and help pick materials, if they need help picking, stone or the perfect rock for their bubbling rock, that type of thing. So, and I feel like I'm helping both the contractor, because he doesn't have time to go to the site to do that with the clients, right? Or it's not the best use of his time. So I tend to enjoy that part of it. I feel like it's a little bit more of a creative part to get out from behind my desk sometimes.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, let's see what our other questions were. We talked about the sourcing plant material, talked about pricing. Those were repeat questions. Okay, so one more. Do you get involved with project management? So that kind of that ties into the questions we were just talking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I do get involved, like I was saying, in the sense of helping pick the plants, place the plants, and pick other elements, stone colors or, rocks for the site. I do that. But as far as me being the project manager and kind of subbing it out to the different trades, I don't get involved in that. Just insurance, I can speak. That's a bigger risk insurance wise, and more anxiety and stress, and that I want to take on. Insurance is a big part of our business, right? We do need to be insured. And so I work closely, like I said, with my contractor and with the homeowner more collaboratively than as a project manager. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I tell my clients, because I am a quote solopreneur, then I just don't have the bandwidth or the manpower, woman power to do both, be design only and keep up with my design work and be project manager. And I also tell my contractors, like I feel like I've built my list of contractors where they can read my plan. I trust them to do the installation. And so I kind of tell them like, I'm going to let you do, like, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to let you stay in your lane. I'm going to let you do what you're good at. And And I also, there is, if the clients like really want me back on site for, say, like placing plants, I will put that in the contract if they ask for it. Like, you can hire me back once I'm done with the design, like that part of the contract is over. You can hire me back for an hourly rate to come back on site to place plants. So if they really would like me to be a part of that, then they can just pay an hourly rate. Usually it's like, depending on how complicated it is, like $7,500 an hour or so, where I can come back and spend time with them. So yeah, I prefer to just keep rolling with my designs and let the contractors handle that. But there are definitely landscape design firms here in Greenville that they do work as project managers, and they, they'll have a team of, 6 or 8 for their whole firm, and they definitely work as project managers. So it's definitely a viable business solution or business model too. I just, at this point in my life, don't choose to do that. So
yeah,
anyway,
I feel the same. Yeah, I feel the same.
Well, I think that's all of our questions. I thank you guys for writing everything in. We appreciated your interest, and we just loved sharing our experience. And I loved that DynaScape brought me to my friend Joanne. We actually got to meet each other in Charleston one time at a conference. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we hope we helped inspire you and give you some practical advice.
Yeah. And you can find both of us. We love Instagram too. You can find us on Instagram. Send us a message. I'm always happy to answer questions online as well. So
yeah, me too.